Imagine walking into a bustling cafe, the kind where laughter and chatter fill the air, and at a corner table sits someone who seems to command the room. They are confident, charming, magnetic, the kind of person people naturally gravitate toward. Everyone sees the charm, the energy, the ease with which they carry themselves. On the surface, life seems effortless for them. But if you could sit across from them and watch closely, you might notice something subtle. A restlessness in their eyes, a tension in their smile, a subtle searching. As if no matter how much admiration they receive, it never quite fills the space inside. They take in compliments, they collect attention, but the satisfaction is temporary, fleeting, like trying to quench thirst with salt water. Now imagine someone else walking into that same cafe, calm, grounded, self-assured, quietly observing the world around them. They are not flashy. They do not command the room, but there is a warmth, a steadiness in their presence that draws people in without effort. Over time, the confident, charming person notices them. They feel inexplicably drawn, intrigued by something they cannot immediately name. It isn't about looks, status, or drama. It's something quieter, something deeper, a sense of balance, a mirror of the emotional stability they've always longed for but never had. That quiet, grounded person, often the opposite of the narcissist's own energy, becomes the unexpected anchor, the one who will eventually occupy the space in their life that no amount of attention or charm could ever fill. And this is the paradox that surprises everyone. The person a narcissist ultimately ends up with is rarely the one who mirrors their drama, but the one who reflects what they secretly lack. When we look at narcissists, the first thing most people notice is their confidence, their charisma, and sometimes even their charm. They can light up a room, command attention, and draw people toward them with ease. But what's often invisible beneath that polished exterior is a deep sense of emptiness. They appear strong, but inside, there's a craving for validation and approval that never seems to be fully satisfied. This craving isn't just a simple desire for praise, it's a fundamental gap in how they see themselves. They might tell themselves, "I am enough," or act as if they are unshakably confident. But in reality, they're constantly scanning their surroundings, looking for reassurance that they are worthy, that they matter, that they are seen. It's a hunger that nothing external can fully satisfy because it originates from a place of internal scarcity. Narcissists often grow up learning that love and acceptance are conditional. Maybe someone important in their early life only valued their accomplishments, their appearance, or their ability to please. Over time, they internalize the idea that who they are at their core is never quite enough. So, they develop strategies to cover up that lack. They build a persona that is magnetic, successful, or fearless, hoping that by projecting this image, they can finally get the approval and admiration they missed when they were young. The irony is that the very traits people often admire about narcissists, their confidence, decisiveness, or even dominance, are often compensations for the inner void they feel. Every compliment they receive, every expression of admiration, is like a temporary patch over a deep hole that never fully closes. This explains why narcissists can sometimes seem insatiable in their relationships. No matter how much attention they get, they are always looking for the next fix to feel whole. When it comes to relationships, this inner lack plays a huge role in who they are drawn to. Because they are seeking validation and a sense of completeness, they often unconsciously gravitate toward people who provide what they cannot give themselves. They may choose partners who are nurturing, patient, or emotionally steady because these traits mirror the inner qualities they desperately wish they had. In essence, they are attracted to the very qualities they lack, even if they cannot fully articulate it. It's important to understand that this is not always conscious. A narcissist may believe they are choosing someone because they are attractive, interesting, or fun, but underneath it, there's often a psychological magnet pulling them towards someone who can fill in the missing pieces of their emotional puzzle. The unexpected partner often embodies patience, empathy, and self-assuredness, qualities that are often the opposite of the chaos and insecurity the narcissist carries inside. This internal void also explains the pattern of relationships narcissists tend to repeat. Early on, they may pursue partners who mirror their own insecurity or who are easily influenced because it gives them a sense of power and control. But as the relationship progresses, they may realize, consciously or not, that these dynamics do not provide the balance or emotional grounding they unconsciously crave. Over time, the pull towards someone more stable, someone who can hold space without being consumed by their demands, becomes stronger. In many ways, the narcissist's relationships are less about love in the traditional sense and more about seeking repair for their internal lack. They want to feel safe, validated, and admired, and they look to external sources to provide what they cannot generate on their own. The person who eventually captures their attention and loyalty often does so not because they are flashy or dramatic, but because they quietly embody the stability, empathy, and authenticity that narcissists miss in themselves. Understanding this dynamic sheds light on why the person a narcissist ends up with often surprises people. It's rarely someone who simply mirrors their initial charm or excitement. It's someone who, in many ways, completes them emotionally, someone who has qualities the narcissist has always wanted but has never possessed. And while this may seem counterintuitive, it reflects a deep human truth. Even the most self-assured people on the surface often seek what they secretly lack inside. When we think about relationships, we often assume people are drawn to those who are similar to them, who mirror their habits, attitudes, or energy. But in the case of narcissists, something different happens. They are frequently attracted to the very qualities they lack, the traits that are the opposite of who they are. This can feel surprising at first because narcissists are so focused on themselves, their needs, and their image. Yet the psychology behind it is deeply human. A narcissist often lives in a world dominated by drama, volatility, and a constant need for attention. Their emotional landscape can be turbulent, and their self-esteem fragile, even if it doesn't appear that way to others. Because of this, the qualities they admire and are drawn toward in others are often the exact opposite of their own internal experience. Calmness, emotional steadiness, and a sense of self-sufficiency are incredibly magnetic to someone whose life feels chaotic and whose confidence is always just beneath the surface. Think about it like this. If someone spends most of their life trying to prove their worth, constantly seeking validation, it makes sense that they would be drawn to someone who is already grounded and self-assured. That person represents what they secretly long for but cannot fully create on their own. The attraction is almost unconscious. They are seeking balance in their relationships, even if they don't label it that way. They may not know that what pulls them in is the stability they lack, but the pull is powerful. This is why, in many cases, the partner who ends up with a narcissist is surprisingly strong and independent. They are often the kind of person who knows their boundaries, understands their worth, and doesn't bend to every whim. On the surface, it may seem like a mismatch because narcissists are used to controlling dynamics or emotional turbulence. But the reality is that the opposite qualities create a gravitational pull. The narcissist feels drawn to what they cannot produce themselves, and in doing so seeks a sense of emotional equilibrium. It's also worth noting that this attraction is not just about calmness or confidence. Sometimes it's about emotional intelligence, empathy, and authenticity. Narcissists often operate in a world of performance and facade, showing only what they want others to see. The person who is genuine, who feels deeply and responds with honesty, stands out as something rare and alluring. They are not easily swayed, and their emotional responses are real rather than performative. This challenges the narcissist in ways that stimulate both intrigue and desire. However, this doesn't mean the narcissist is always consciously seeking a partner who is different. Initially, they may be drawn to superficial traits like charm, beauty, or social status because these qualities feed their ego and provide immediate validation. Over time, though, when the excitement of surface-level admiration fades, the deeper pull towards someone who embodies what they lack becomes more pronounced. It's often the person with opposite qualities who helps them feel a sense of emotional grounding they've never known before. This dynamic can explain why so many people are surprised by the partners narcissists end up with. On paper, the match may seem unlikely. One partner appears self-absorbed, dramatic, or volatile, while the other is stable, calm, and emotionally grounded. Yet, this contrast is exactly what makes the relationship sustainable from the narcissist's perspective. The opposite qualities provide a sense of completion, a balancing force that they are unconsciously seeking. It also reveals an important truth about attraction in general. Sometimes we are drawn not to what mirrors us, but to what completes the parts of ourselves that feel missing. Narcissists exemplify this in a very visible way, but the principle is universal. The qualities they lack are often the ones that pull them in, and the people who possess them often become the unexpected partners who end up staying by their side. Understanding this helps us see beyond the stereotype of narcissists only chasing admiration or superficial gains. While those patterns exist, there is also a deeper, almost paradoxical truth. The people they truly end up with often embody the opposite of their own emotional reality, offering stability, empathy, and authenticity in a way that fills the gaps in their own lives. When we talk about narcissists and the people they are drawn to, there's a pattern that often surprises people. They are deeply attracted to calmness and empathy. At first glance, it may seem counterintuitive. Narcissists are often dramatic, volatile, and highly self-focused. Yet, the very traits that many of us see as ordinary or understated, patience, gentleness, the ability to listen without judgment, hold a magnetic pull for someone who is constantly seeking emotional validation and stability. Imagine a life where your emotions are always on display, where every success, every interaction is a performance to be noticed and admired. There's a constant energy drain in trying to maintain that image, in trying to convince the world that you are worthy. For a narcissist, being around someone who exudes calmness is like entering a sanctuary. Their presence offers a quiet contrast to the whirlwind they carry inside. It's not something the narcissist may consciously label as attractive, but the effect is immediate. The calm person feels grounding, like a safe harbor in a stormy sea. Empathy, too, holds a unique power. Most narcissists struggle with true empathy. They can mimic it, show it when it serves them, or perform concern to gain trust or admiration. But deep, consistent empathy, the kind that is patient, non-judgmental, and authentic, is a mirror of what they lack. When they encounter someone who can genuinely see them, understand their struggles, and respond with compassion without being manipulated or controlled, it is both intriguing and disarming. That person becomes an anchor, offering emotional support that the narcissist has never fully experienced. This magnetism of calmness and empathy also explains why narcissists can often form long-term attachments to people who, on paper, might seem too good or too stable for them. The partner's grounded nature is not just a trait, it becomes a necessity, a balancing force in the narcissist's chaotic inner world. It is the opposite of the constant internal turbulence they live with. In a way, the calm, empathetic partner becomes a mirror, showing the narcissist a glimpse of the emotional stability they have always wanted but could never cultivate for themselves. It's important to understand that this attraction is often unconscious. Narcissists may enter a relationship thinking they are choosing someone because of charm, beauty, or social appeal, but over time, the calmness and empathy of their partner begin to hold an almost gravitational pull. These traits provide consistency, a sense of security, and a rare emotional depth. The narcissist may not admit it or even fully recognize it, but they are drawn to these qualities because they fulfill a void they have carried their entire life. Interestingly, this dynamic can also create a cycle of both tension and fascination. The calm and empathetic partner is often not easily swayed by the narcissist's highs and lows. They respond thoughtfully, they set boundaries, and they maintain their emotional center even in the face of manipulation or drama. This can frustrate the narcissist at times because they are used to being the emotional center of attention. Yet, it is this very stability and strength that ultimately captivates them. The person they cannot control or destabilize is often the one who holds the most power over them emotionally. This pattern also explains why the relationships narcissists end up with can be surprisingly resilient. It's not that narcissists always change or become more self-aware. Rather, the presence of calmness and empathy in their partner provides a steadying influence, a quiet force that can temper some of the chaos and imbalance the narcissist brings. Over time, the relationship often survives not despite the narcissist's behaviors, but because of the partner's consistent ability to respond with patience, understanding, and emotional intelligence. Another subtle but important point is that calmness and empathy are not passive traits. They are active qualities that require self-awareness and intentionality. The partner who embodies these traits is often someone who knows themselves well, understands boundaries, and can provide support without losing themselves in the process. This balance is exactly what a narcissist unconsciously seeks. They are drawn to the person who can hold space for them, without enabling, without being overwhelmed, and without feeding the same chaotic energy they carry. In the end, the magnetism of calmness and empathy shows us something fundamental about human connection. Even the most self-focused individuals, those who seem incapable of genuine emotional depth, are drawn to qualities they secretly long for, but cannot generate themselves. For narcissists, the unexpected partner who embodies patience, understanding, and steadiness becomes the anchor they never knew they needed, but cannot resist. At first glance, narcissists often appear to thrive in chaos. They are drawn to excitement, intensity, and drama. And for many, these high-energy experiences feel like a natural extension of who they are. Their relationships, social circles, and even career choices often reflect this pattern. But beneath the surface, there is a part of them that craves something very different: stability. Over time, even the most dramatic narcissist tends to gravitate toward partners who provide a sense of groundedness, calm, and consistency. This shift is rarely conscious. Most narcissists don't sit down and think, "I need stability now." Instead, it emerges gradually, almost imperceptibly. At first, they may be attracted to intensity because it mirrors their internal turbulence and satisfies their need for validation and excitement. But constant chaos is exhausting, even for them. The endless cycle of highs and lows, emotional games, and attention-seeking behaviors eventually reveals its cost. The initial thrill fades, and what remains is a deep, often unacknowledged desire for someone who can offer steadiness. Stability in a partner provides something a narcissist rarely has: predictability. It's not about boredom or routine. It's about the emotional reassurance that comes from knowing that someone can remain calm, composed, and grounded, even in the face of their volatile behaviors. A stable partner doesn't get caught up in every manipulation or every dramatic outburst. They respond thoughtfully, maintain their center, and offer a quiet kind of strength that contrasts with the narcissist's inner turbulence. Over time, this quality becomes magnetic, almost irresistible, because it fills an emotional void the narcissist cannot address on their own. This dynamic is part of a larger human pattern. We are often drawn to what we lack. For narcissists, the inner chaos and insecurity they carry are difficult to tolerate long-term. A partner who brings steadiness doesn't just balance the relationship, they provide a sense of relief and emotional containment that the narcissist cannot create themselves. Over time, this creates a gravitational pull where the narcissist, even unknowingly, finds themselves relying on the stability and calm their partner offers. It's also important to note that stability doesn't mean passivity. A partner who embodies stability is usually someone with strong boundaries, self-respect, and emotional intelligence. They are not easily swayed or manipulated, and they can respond to the narcissist's behavior with consistency rather than reaction. This dynamic is crucial because it forces the narcissist to adjust in small ways over time. While they may never fully change, the presence of a grounded partner encourages a more predictable and balanced relational environment. What makes this surprising to many people is that narcissists are not often associated with commitment or patience. Their early patterns suggest impulsivity, volatility, and a focus on personal gain. Yet over time, their attraction shifts towards something that offers genuine emotional stability. It is almost paradoxical. Someone who thrives on attention and excitement ultimately values the quiet, steady strength of a partner who can endure and respond thoughtfully to their highs and lows. This unconscious preference also explains why narcissists sometimes seem to settle down with partners who may initially appear mismatched. On paper, the narcissist's energy and need for drama contrast sharply with the calm, grounded nature of their chosen partner. Yet it is precisely this contrast that provides the balance they have been unconsciously seeking. Over time, the stable partner becomes an anchor, offering the emotional consistency and reliability that satisfies the narcissist's deeper, often unacknowledged needs. In essence, even the most seemingly chaotic and self-focused individuals have an inner compass that eventually guides them toward what they truly need, even if they cannot consciously articulate it. For narcissists, this often means choosing someone who embodies stability, calm, and groundedness. The attraction may start unconsciously, but its effects are profound, shaping the relationships they ultimately maintain and the people they end up with. When people imagine narcissists in relationships, they often picture someone falling instantly for someone else because of attraction, charm, or chemistry. But in reality, the relationships narcissists end up in are rarely about love at first sight in the traditional sense. Their attraction is often more complex, psychological, and rooted in what the other person provides emotionally rather than a sudden romantic spark. A narcissist's early attraction might involve surface-level qualities like beauty, status, or charisma, because these traits feed their ego and provide immediate reinforcement. At first, they may appear captivated, showering attention, compliments, and energy on their partner. To an outside observer, it can look like an intense, whirlwind romance. But underneath that excitement, the true magnetism often lies in traits the narcissist unconsciously seeks: stability, empathy, calmness, and emotional intelligence. The initial chemistry is just the gateway. It's the deeper qualities that determine who they eventually commit to, or at least maintain a long-term attachment with. Narcissists are constantly seeking validation, admiration, and a sense of self-worth they cannot generate internally. This means their choices are rarely about mutual vulnerability or shared emotional growth, at least in the early stages. Instead, they are assessing, often unconsciously, whether the other person can provide the qualities they lack. Can this person be consistent? Can they handle my moods without losing themselves? Can they give me support and patience without being manipulated? These are the subtle calculations happening beneath the surface, long before traditional love comes into play. The person who ultimately attracts a narcissist is often someone who embodies what the narcissist cannot sustain for themselves. They have emotional resilience, patience, and a strong sense of self. They don't react impulsively to every outburst, and they maintain their boundaries. These qualities are not immediately obvious as romantic attraction in the usual sense. Instead, they create a gravitational pull that the narcissist finds difficult to resist. Over time, the initial superficial attraction fades, but the deeper draw to stability, empathy, and groundedness becomes stronger and more defining of the relationship. It's important to understand that this process is usually unconscious. Narcissists themselves may not realize why they are drawn to a particular person. They may even convince themselves it's passion or love at first sight, because acknowledging that their attraction is psychological and need-based doesn't align with their self-image. But anyone observing the pattern over time can see the logic. They are drawn to what complements or compensates for what they lack internally. This also explains why narcissists often have a history of short-term, intense relationships before ending up with someone who is unexpectedly grounded and stable. Early partners may reflect the narcissist's own volatility or be easily influenced, which can feel comfortable at first because it mirrors their own behaviors. But over time, the cycle of highs and lows becomes unsustainable. The narcissist unconsciously begins seeking someone who offers steadiness, patience, and emotional resilience, traits that were never central in the initial whirlwind romances but become essential in maintaining a longer-term connection. Another subtle aspect is that the person a narcissist ultimately ends up with is often emotionally self-sufficient. They don't require constant validation, and they don't lose themselves in the narcissist's world. This independence can be confusing to the narcissist at first because it challenges their usual dynamic of control and attention-seeking. Yet paradoxically, it's precisely this independence and strength that draws them in, because it provides a sense of balance they've been missing in themselves. So, while outsiders might expect a dramatic, instant love story, the reality is different. The relationships narcissists form and maintain are rarely about immediate passion. They are about subtle, often unconscious calculations about who can fill the gaps they cannot fill themselves. The attraction develops slowly, built on the qualities of the partner that provide emotional grounding, resilience, and stability. Qualities that often surprise people when they see who the narcissist truly settles with. Understanding this makes it clear that the unexpected person a narcissist ends up with is not just someone who wins their heart in a dramatic instant. It is someone whose qualities meet deep psychological needs, balancing the chaos, insecurity, and emptiness the narcissist carries inside. It's a slow, subtle, and sometimes surprising process, far removed from the notion of love at first sight, yet profoundly human in its underlying logic. It's worth noting that awareness and boundaries don't mean the partner is cold or indifferent. On the contrary, they are often highly empathetic and emotionally intelligent, but they are careful not to sacrifice themselves in the process. They understand the difference between caring for someone and being consumed by them. They can hold space for the narcissist's needs without losing their own identity, which is exactly what makes them so attractive in the long run. This dynamic also explains why narcissists often seem to settle with partners who appear unexpectedly strong or self-possessed. On paper, these partners may seem like they would resist or challenge the narcissist too much. But in reality, the combination of emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and boundaries provides the stability and balance that the narcissist unconsciously seeks. They feel safer and more secure, even if they don't consciously acknowledge it, because the partner's strength is steady, predictable, and non-demanding in the ways that matter most. Interestingly, the presence of awareness and boundaries also shifts the power dynamic in subtle ways. The narcissist, who is used to being the center of attention, may initially feel challenged or frustrated, but over time they learn, consciously or unconsciously, to adapt to the partner's steady presence. The partner does not constantly chase approval or react impulsively, which means the narcissist experiences a different type of engagement, one that is stable, respectful, and emotionally fulfilling in a way they rarely encounter. Another important aspect is that self-aware partners are not easily drawn into the narcissist's manipulations. They see through superficial charm, recognize when behaviors are harmful or controlling, and respond with calmness rather than reactivity. This requires a high level of emotional intelligence, which the narcissist both craves and, at first, may resist. Over time, however, these qualities create a magnetic pull because the narcissist unconsciously recognizes that this is the kind of relational environment they need to feel secure, validated, and even somewhat grounded. In essence, awareness and boundaries act as both a filter and a foundation. They help the narcissist select a partner who is not only compatible with their deeper needs, but also capable of providing stability and emotional safety. The person who embodies these qualities is rarely the one who is easily impressed or manipulated. They are thoughtful, self-aware, and grounded. Someone who holds themselves firmly while offering space and empathy for the narcissist. Ultimately, the surprising truth is that narcissists often end up with partners who are everything they are not: self-possessed, emotionally intelligent, and unwavering in their sense of self. Awareness and boundaries create a rare combination of strength and compassion, stability and empathy, which the narcissist unconsciously seeks to fill the gaps within themselves. These qualities are not flashy or dramatic, but they have a quiet power that holds a narcissist in ways that charm, excitement, or superficial attraction never can.